Hello everyone and welcome to FiST Chat, the podcast that features discussions on the topics of film, science and technology. My name is Ben Warner and I'm joined by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern to talk about our favourite aliens, or should we say our favourite Hollywood aliens maybe.
Yes, hello FiST Chatters and hello all you aliens out there on Earth.
That's right, and as Men in Black showed us, there's plenty of them out there just hiding among us.
There certainly are.
I wanted to kick off this topic because I've now got a new favourite alien, and his name is Paul. It's very alien sounding. It's a great movie, great comedy, and it's funny just mentioning that in sort of close to Men in Black there. To me, that movie almost seemed like what Men in Black should have been.
Okay.
Like it was actually funny.
So you've seen it, Ben? I've not seen it yet. What is it like? Just give us a quick review.
Oh well, it's got a lot of. I think the key to it that works so well is that they've got two guys in there that are two British nerds. That kind of gives it a bit of a different slant. So if you can imagine if there were two American nerds in there, it would have a different kind of thing happening. But what works well is, I guess, the main character, the alien in there, and when you've got an alien that's teaching humans how to swear properly and how to smoke joints, then you're onto a winner. So it's just, and plus on top of that, it makes a lot of fun of a lot of 80s sci-fi movies, and there's a really great little sort of subplot in there about how Paul advised Steven Spielberg how to accurately portray aliens in E.T. and Close Encounters.
Well, very good. Very good.
So it's a pretty good movie. Highly recommend everyone check that out. I'm sure there'll be a review or two somewhere. We'll probably post them on the FiST Chat Facebook page. But let's move on. Have you got a favourite alien yourself, Steve? Or
well, kind of. I've got a few, but I want to start off with, I think Paul might be in danger of deposing. I think some poll they did a few years ago of everyone's favourite alien, E.T.
Oh,
now,
of course.
Is Paul better than E.T.?
Oh, Paul kicks E.T.'s ass as far as I'm concerned.
E.T. will be phoning home. He won't be coming back.
Oh, exactly. But, maybe it's because I'm not partial to cute and sentimental. But if I was, maybe E.T. would still be at the top of the list.
Okay, well, let's get to a couple of my favourite aliens. I mean, Chewbacca has to be another big favourite. How's Paul go against Chewbacca?
Oh, well, the 7-foot-tall carpet that that roars. Oh, he's a good guy, that one. He's good to have in a tight spot.
Okay. The only other Star Wars characters I'm going to mention are the Ewoks.
No, teddy bears, you mean?
Yeah, okay. Maybe we'll move on to Yoda then.
Oh, well, Yoda, you can't really go past Yoda, I mean... even though that a lot of the Star Wars prequels seem to contradict a lot of what the character was on about, but if you just focus on the original films, that's an awesome character, and especially the way they went about sort of bringing him to life as well, just from a production standpoint. Because at the end of the day, he's just a Muppet. So.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, I don't know how you describe Paul then.
Oh, well, he's totally CG, mate. So, he's totally fake as well.
And I'll just give you one of my real favourite alien. Actually, is the alien out of Alien.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I saw that when I was very young, and it scared the life out of me. I wouldn't like to meet an alien like that, but certainly my favourite one.
Oh, well, I mean, the great thing about that is that it was quite believable, and maybe that's something we'll talk about a bit later, but a lot of the aliens that we're talking about at the moment have very human-like sort of qualities, and the reason why I think Alien resonates so well is that obviously it's got, I guess, arms and legs and that because it's sort of morphed from human DNA or whatever it is that it turned into, but it's very different and very non-human as well. So it works quite well.
I think the other thing that's, really, strong in the Alien films, especially the first one, is that, he ate ordinary people like us.
That's right.
We weren't special space people or anything, just ordinary astronauts, just ate us. Yep.
See you later.
See you later.
Okay, well, we got to mention, I guess, Star Trek here, because this is the king of the human-like aliens, and the reason being is that it was purely a budgetary consideration. Back in the 60s, they didn't have a lot of money to put aliens on screen, so Gene Roddenberry, the producer, came up with this clever idea of the similar worlds concept, that if our intrepid space travelers were going to other planets that were similar to Earth, that it would be reasonable to assume that whoever they find there would be a lot like us. So
Absolutely.
What do you think of that idea?
Well, it's possible. It's possible. But highly unlikely. For those people out there in FiST Chatland who are really interested in what the probability of finding other alien life out there in the universe is like, there's something called the Drake equation. And I won't go into it, but it's just obviously Drake worked out a whole lot of variables and worked out what the chances are of us making contact with them is. And even though the universe is, from our perspective, infinitely big, and even though we keep finding more and more solar systems out there and planetary systems, and more and more planets are almost like Earth, but not quite. The chances of us actually, with the knowledge we have today, of actually communicating with them, of us being civilizations that have that ability at the same time, are minimal. And if you think that radio waves, are covering distances that take them millions of years to cross in the universe, it's quite likely that by the time aliens on the other side of the universe discover that Earth existed, we will have perished probably for billions of years. So I hope there are aliens out there. I certainly hope they're nice, friendly aliens. I mean, you wouldn't want any of the ones out of Hitchhiker's Guide to come and demolish our planet. But, I really don't know. What about Ford Prefect? One of my favourites.
Absolutely, yeah. Maybe another slant, I guess, to look at, if we just stick with that for a moment, is the idea that even if we just look at Earth and all the life that is on Earth, there isn't really anything else that looks like us as well. You've got.
That's right.
So if you're just looking at our planet, just the fact that there's just such a variety of species, and however many billions of species that sort of came up on our own planet, and we were really the only ones that sort of appeared as the way we are now, is quite amazing, but also sort of tells you a little bit about the odds of finding the same type of thing on some other place in the same form.
Well, if you just want to put that in perspective, then have a look. Dinosaurs existed for hundreds of millions of years. Humans with the capacity we have today have only existed really probably for the last 5,000 to 10,000 years.
Yeah.
So, we've only been around for an absolute speck of time with the abilities that we have. I won't call it intelligence, just abilities that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be a planet out there with dinosaurs. If there was a planet just like Earth, how would they communicate with us anyway? If it was all frogs or all ants, how would they communicate with us? So, you're really looking for something human-like. And I mean, at the other end of the spectrum is there could be aliens so far advanced that we wouldn't even know them if we saw them.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of maybe how, our relation to maybe some animals and things like that, when they look at us, would they know what they were looking at, that kind of thing as well.
Exactly. One interesting thing that Arthur C. Clarke, the legendary sci-fi author, predicted was that humans themselves will become aliens. So once we move out into space and, you start having generations bred through space travel, effectively they're not Earthlings, they're space people. By the time they come back, especially if they do some faster than light travel or something, it'll be hundreds of thousands of years by the time they return, and they in fact will be aliens.
Because their environment will also help shape how they develop as well.
Oh, exactly. And closer to home, if anyone's ever born on Mars, technically they'll be a Martian. If they come back to Earth, they'll be an alien.
See, there you go. But we're all connected in some way, aren't we?
We certainly are.
Exactly. So maybe just one question I'd thought of when we were thinking of this topic. Do you think Hollywood is only clever enough to create aliens that look like humans?
I think the interesting thing, I once heard Will Smith say that the reason he took Men in Black was because it featured alien creatures. And he looked at the top 10 Hollywood films of all time, and I know 6 of them involve non-human stars. So he said he knew he was on a winner. What they do is they take non-human stars. I mean, Shrek's not an alien, but he's a good example.
Yeah.
Give him human qualities, and everyone falls in love, just like they do with Paul.
Exactly right. This it's amazing. I think maybe that's a good metaphor for the human condition there. The reason why Paul is so funny, for example, is that the guy is really just a wise-ass human masquerading in an alien body. And he's very quick, he's very witty, and that's what makes it funny. And it kind of, in the context of a comedy, that's what makes it even funnier, because that's not going to happen. But
that's right. He's the guy that always thinks of the right thing to say, all the things that we can't say at the right time. I bet Paul never wakes up in the middle of the night wishing he'd said something, 12 hours earlier.
Exactly right. He's too advanced for that. Okay, non-human. There's always, if we go back to Star Wars, there's always Jabba the Hutt.
Yes, yeah.
The big fat slob gangster who just, he's a nasty piece of work. So, but actually, one of my favourites comes from the comic book world, and not Superman, but General Zod from Superman 2 is.
Okay, yeah.
I happen to like him quite a lot. I don't know if you're aware of this, Steve, but the original director of Superman 2 went back and he did a director's cut of that film because he was actually kicked off it. And another director finished the film originally.
Oh, that's Hollywood.
But he shot about 70% of it already before they kicked him off, and then they replaced footage and whatever, and that's what the original film was. And then apparently there was a groundswell of internet support, and they got him to go back and recut a special DVD version of what his cut of the film would have been.
Wow.
And he had wanted General Zod and the trio in there to be a lot more frightening, a lot more imposing. And even though it doesn't really come across because he couldn't obviously reshoot, any scenes that he couldn't get to, you can really see like the dramatic difference in the piece. Wow. So it's actually worth checking out, even though it doesn't really fully work as a film because it's sort of pieced together with old footage and that sort of thing. It's kind of like a work print. That's kind of what it looks like. But you could see that if they just left the guy to finish the damn thing, it probably would have turned out to be really good. But that's Hollywood for you, isn't it?
That's a real Hollywood alien story for you. Just quickly, though, what did you think of the Alien in Contact, though?
See, that was pretty awesome, I thought. Because
that's probably a lot closer to the truth, I think.
Absolutely, because were there any aliens in the film?
Well, that's right.
That's a question, and I think a lot of it has got to do with why that film's so good is how we react to the idea that aliens exist. There's proof that it exists. So how do we react to it? And that's what I think a lot of good science fiction does. It just maybe it's not necessarily having to show what's out there, is maybe it's just how we deal with it.
Absolutely, and I thought the most telling thing in that film too was when the character, has the alien experience. When she comes back, she can't explain it.
Exactly.
Which is a lot better than coming back and telling everyone you've been anally probed.
Oh, and just to finish up on that point, there's a great probing joke in Paul that I encourage everyone to see, including you, Steve, because that basically brought the house down as far as I was concerned.
Well, that's it. I'm getting along to see it straight away then.
Cool. All right, Steve, we're out of time, so thanks again for the chats. Always fun, and I'm sure we'll have to see if we can figure out some other favourite aliens at some other point. I'm sure they'll show up somewhere.
Certainly, if anyone out there in FiST Chatland's got any, tweet us with them, because we'd love to hear. I mean, I know there's plenty we've missed today, but we've only got 15 minutes.
That's right. There's only so much you can fit in. All right. So that's it for this week. Don't forget you can get all our links and media and social media and all that sort of thing at www.fistchat.com. So that's it for this week's episode. So until next week, we'll catch you then.